Hey guys, welcome back to Magic TV. My name's Craig. It is 9 o'clock on a Monday, which means it's time for a 5x5. This is where I take 5 subjects related to magic. I spend 5 minutes talking about each subject. I move on to the next subject. It's always quick. It's always snappy. You never know what you're going to get. Well, today I'm going to be doing something a little bit different. I'm going to give you, my opinion, what are the 5 most important things that performers need to consider when they're transitioning into performing for kids and family shows, mainly kid shows. And the reason I'm doing this is because there have been a lot of people on this channel that have been asking me over and over again, hey, I want to start doing kid shows. What do I need to do kid shows? What do I need to consider? I've only done close-up magic before, or I've only performed on stage before. I want to start doing kid shows. How does that look? And you know what? I would highly suggest anybody in this industry do kid shows. Now, I know that there's a bit of snobbery in the magic community, and I know a lot of people look down on kids entertainers. I also know a lot of magicians who would say, oh, I'd never perform for kids in a million years. That's not something I'd do. I think doing kid shows is vitally important for a few different reasons. The first reason is it means that I genuinely believe performing for kids makes you a better all-round magician. I've gone to gigs, weddings, where I've seen magicians and they've actively avoided performing for the kids. They flat out turn around to clients and they go, I don't do kid shows, I'm not a kids entertainer, if there's kids at the event, I'm not going to perform for them. By having experience as a kids entertainer, you can adapt what you do to any age of audience, and you can make it tailored for that specific age of audience. Second of all, performing for kids, performing to a group of kids in a show, it's going to make you, give you more experience if you're wanting to transition from up to stage. So if you're a close-up magician and you want to be a stage magician, that's a big leap. It's quite scary having only done groups of 4 or 5 people to then walk out on a stage in front of 100 people and start performing for 100 people. It's a really scary thing to do. Doing kids shows is a nice stopgap. And what I mean by that is typically when you're performing to kids, you could be standing in front of a group of 30, 40 kids a lot of the time. And then there's going to be adults there watching as well. It gives you experience performing on stage and all of those things that come with performing on stage, how to carry yourself, how to walk, how to project vocally, how to make things play bigger to a bigger group of people, all things that close-up magicians don't consider that are vitally important if you're performing on stage. And also having that skill of being able to perform in front of a group of people, even if you're not transitioning onto stage, really can help a close-up magician. The amount of close-up magicians that I've seen, and they approach a big table or a group of people and they'll perform for 2 or 3 of those people and not to the whole group. You learn as a kids entertainer to be able to perform to a whole group and how to capture the attention of absolutely everybody and where to look and where to stand and how to act in order to get the attention of absolutely everybody. The other thing is, kids entertainment, it's a very lucrative business. You can make a lot of money from it, but also, I'm not going to say it's recession-proof, but it's about as close to recession-proof as you can get. And what I mean by that is, okay, so there's been many times that I've been in this industry where there's been recessions, and there's been times where people don't have much money and corporates are pulling their entertainment and people that would normally book entertainment haven't booked entertainment. And a lot of close-up magicians and a lot of corporate entertainers, they really struggle during these periods. Kids entertainment, kids are always still going to want kids parties. And even if a parent hasn't got much money, they will save up throughout the year to try and give their child the best possible birthday party that they can get. So it's a great way to add income to your business. It's a great way to improve. And the other thing is, I perform mainly on stage now, but when I'm working in a new trick, I will perform it in a kid show first of all, because it will allow me to perform it to a group of people and get a vibe as to how this trick's going to work before I perform it on stage. Now, that's not always possible. I'm not going to put like smash and stab in a kid's show, but generally as a rule, I can adapt any trick that I do on stage to a kid's audience, and I can get the feel of it, and I can get it into my muscle memory, where I'm going to stand, where the prop needs to be, how I'm going to deliver that line. All of that stuff is very, very important, and having the ability to be able to do that in front of a kid show audience is great. And I will tell you, A lot of the time, magicians kid themselves. They think they've done the best job in the world, and they haven't. It's just that their audiences, not all the time, but there are times when our audiences are really nice to us, and maybe they don't think we've done the best job that we could do, but they're nice to us. Kids are honest. They will tell you if you suck. They will be completely 100% honest with you. They will tell you if you suck, and they have no filter. If a kid does not like your performance, they're going to stand up and they're going to walk off. It's as simple as that. So in this 5x5, I'm going to spend 5 minutes talk about 5 different subjects. 5 different things that I think that if you are transitioning into performing for kids, you really need to consider. These are the 5 most important things that differ from performing for adults and close-up and even stage compared to a kid show audience. So let's get into them. Let's start off with the first point. Okay, so the first thing that I want to talk about is look, no, see. This is the first thing that you really need to learn if you're going to be a kid show entertainer. Look, no, see. Now, here's the most important thing for you guys to understand. A kids show, if you're doing magic for kids, it has to be interactive. It has to be interactive. The kids need to interact. And there's lots of different ways you can make it interactive. You can ask a question. You can do something funny. You can make the kids laugh. You can do something magical. Every 5 or 6 seconds, there should be something that gets the kids' attention. Because here's the thing. If you don't have their attention, they're going to walk off. It's as simple as that. And one of the ways to make a show really interactive is by incorporating a lot of look, no, see. Now, what look, no, see is it gets its name from pantomimes, right? It gets its name from pantomimes. And it's the idea of something happening when the audience aren't looking. So it's that example of something, not when the audience is looking. It's when something happens, the audience can see what's happening, you can't see what's happening, and therefore the kids in the audience, they want to tell you, right? And I'm going to give you an example of this. I'm going to show you a video of me performing Silver Scepter, which is a classic kid show routine. I'm going to show you a performance of this Silver Scepter routine so you can see exactly what I'm talking about. And then when you come back, I'll break down what I mean. So let's have a look at this.
When you think about doing a magic show, the first thing that every magician needs is a magic wand. I've got a magic wand now. It's a brand new one. I bought it yesterday for the magic wand shop. Would you like to see it? Does anybody know what colour a magic wand should be? It should be black and white. I've got a brand new magic wand here. It is absolutely amazing. It's black and white. It does a lot of magic. What's the matter? No, this is the case. The wand is so special. I keep it in the case. The case is green. The wand is black and white. You wave this wand around. No, this magic wand is absolutely rubbish. Is this a magic wand? No. Does this look anything like a magic wand? No. So, okay, you know what? I'll put it away. I have another magic wand. I didn't realise I got the wrong colour. I've got another magic wand. The other one is a lot better. Because the other one is black and white. And you wave it around, it does a lot. I'm so sorry. I thought I put that away. I'm really sorry. So, sorry about that. Right, okay. Stay! Stay! Oh, no. You're going to be firm to it. That's it. If you shout stay, it'll stay. Now, what are you doing? Excuse me, can everyone put your fingers out and shout stay? Right, okay, stay! I've got to... Oh! You know what? It's every time I look away. What I'll do, I'll turn away. I'll turn back really quickly. I'll catch it. Here we go. Ha! 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 Fine, you have to do it now. Right, okay. You know what? I'll turn it horizontal. Think about it. If I turn it this way, it can't possibly go up. I'm using my head. Aha! I'll turn it upside down. Now it can't come out. There's no hole at this end. That's clever. That's clever. That's clever. It's actually clever. I don't know. Ah! Fine. Remember to stay sat down on your bottom so you won't get picked. Go back a little bit for me. There we go. Right. It doesn't matter. I have another magic wand. This one will not let me down. This is my oldest magic wand. It's my backup magic wand. This magic wand is awesome. Stop laughing. You can laugh all you want to, but this one has never let me down. It has white ends. It has a black middle. You wave it round. I mean, this guy is so much magic. Guys, you need to stay sat there for me. During the show, things are going to happen. Things are going to go everywhere. You have to stay sat on your bottoms, okay? Hang on. I've got it. I can fix a magic wand easily. Look, you just put this end on this end. You hit it. It's fine. So, no, I've got it there. It's that end. No, it's that. Ah! I'll hold it this way. Hang on a minute. Here we go. I got it. I just hit it really hard. Fine. Ah! Okay, here we go. I'll put it. Ah! You know what? It's fine. We'll use the tube.
So that was an example of me performing Silver Scepter pop-off wand. Now, here's the thing. If I walked out on stage and I said to the audience, hey, I've got a stick. This is a stick. And, I'm going to make this stick rise. It's not going to be that entertaining, right? It's way more entertaining presenting it the way that I presented it in that video. And it's even more entertaining when you consider that it's happening when it's happening when I'm not even aware of it. And it makes the kids want to tell me that this is happening. And they find it really funny because here's the thing, right? When you're a kids entertainer, obviously you're an adult standing in front of all of these kids. Now, kids generally, as a rule, they think that adults have all the answers. Now, we know we haven't, but they think that we have. And you're standing in front of these kids and you're telling them that you are a magician. From their point of view, you have superpowers, right? So you're there saying, I'm a magician, I can do magic. So when the magic starts going wrong, it's immediately funnier. And when it starts going wrong and you're not aware of it, it becomes even funnier. Anytime something happens to an adult, the kid will find it hilarious. Stub your toe in front of a 5-year-old and see how hard they laugh and how long they laugh for, right? So when you can structure a performance so that you say something's going to happen and it's not happening, or you're doing something and something's happening and you're not aware of it, you say that you've got magic but you can't control the magic, it becomes a lot funnier for the audience. But you have to kind of engineer these moments of look, no, see. They don't just happen automatically, right? And the way to do it, and this is how I always teach it to my students. So what I do is you start off by setting the premise. Now, using the Silver Scepter as an example, the premise is that you are showing them this wand, but you want to put it away because it's not a real wand. That is the premise. So the premise is very clear. They understand the premise. Then there's the action, the initial action. So the initial action is you're putting the wand away. There we go, done. We're going to put this wand away. We don't need it. That's the initial action. Then, once we've put that wand away, the next point is that you talk to the audience, right? So you want to engage with the audience, talk to the audience. You're not looking at that Silver Scepter. You're looking there. You're not looking there. You're also not running around so that when this second action happens, the kids can see it happening. So I'm talking to the audience, and then the second action happens, which is, in this case, the silver wand comes up, right? The Silver Scepter comes up. Now, it's important that when that second action happens, I'm not looking there. I'm not looking anywhere near here. I'm looking this direction. I'm not looking over here. At that point, I need to go into the next part, which is I need to just continue talking to the audience because I can't go silent until somebody says something because that silence will kill a show. So what I have to do instead is I have to carry on talking like, hey, so I'm going to put this wand away. I don't need this wand. I'm going to put it away because I've got another one, a better one. I'm just talking and waiting for the kids to say, it's gone up or some variation thereof. And if it's a shy audience, it might take a few seconds. When they do point that out to me, I stop what I'm talking about, and the next moment is to argue with the kids. Half of the thing with kids' entertainment is winding the kids up, right? If I argue with them and I say, don't be silly, I've put it away. It's not out, I put it away. No, it's gone up. No, it isn't. If I argue with them, they're going to become more vocal. And that's what you want, because if you're doing a party for a kids show, if you're doing a kids show at a party, you want them to make noise, generally as a rule, because you want the parents to see that they're having a good time. If they're sitting there on their hands not making any noise, that's not a great look for the person who's booked you, right? So you want to make it really high energy. So you're doing this, they're pointing out, they're arguing back and forth, and then the next point is you look, you see, and you react. And the reaction to this moment where this one goes up, the reaction has to be over the top. You have to channel your inner Jim Carrey. And the reaction has to be just ridiculous, like, what? And the reaction has to build, right? The first time it's like, huh? And then the final time it's, what is going on? Think about if you're actually doing this. You're actually taking a wand out and you're actually showing somebody a wand and you're putting it away and it kept coming up in front of an audience while you're trying to put it away. You get to the point where you were really, really frustrated, right? Which is the situation that you're in here. So you want to repeat, you repeat it because kids love repetition. My daughter, Thea, she's a big Disney princess fan. She could watch the same Disney princess. She could watch Ariel the Little Mermaid 1,000,000 times and not get bored because she loves the anticipation of knowing what's going to happen next. It's the same with this. They know that one's going to go up and they're waiting for it and they're excited about that moment where that one's going up. So the repetition is the key. And then you want a crescendo. In this case, the case flies off, right? So that is look, no, see. And to a lesser or greater extent, I include look, no, see in a lot of the routines I do because it's a cheat code to making your performances more interactive. You're getting the kids involved. But in order to do that, you have to have the right character, you have to have the right delivery. All of that is very important. But if you can have the right delivery and then you can pick the right tricks and you can infuse look, no, see into those tricks, then the sky is the limit. Okay, so the next thing that's really important is hook lines. What is a hook line? Well, a hook line is what you say before you, it's what you say before the trick. Right? It's what you say to grab the audience's attention and bring them into watching the trick. Let me give you a couple of examples. So if I was doing a show for kids and I said, hey, I'm going to do a card trick, I've got a pack of cards. Most kids, especially younger kids, 5, 6, 7, they're not going to care. They're not going to care about playing cards. It's something that doesn't interest them. I could do the greatest card trick of all time and they wouldn't be that fussed. Now, you might be able to do a really great card trick to a 5, 6-year-old in a close-up environment that they could relate to, but when you're performing it to a group of people, you're really going to struggle. So the way to actually make it so that the kids are all paying attention and watching every move that you're doing is by giving this trick a hook line. So using a pack of cards as an example, you could say, right, I've got a deck of cards here, but don't worry about the cards. There's colours on the faces. They're red and they're black. Now, the red colours, they represent Marshall from the Paw Patrol, because Marshall is wears red, doesn't he? Marshall wears red because he drives around in the fire engine. Okay, who likes Marshall? Okay, fantastic. Now, the black cards, they're going to represent Batman, because Batman, he goes around the streets of Gotham and he wears black, doesn't he? And he drives the Batmobile, which is also black. So who here likes Batman? Okay, who do you prefer, Batman or or Marshall? Shout out now, Batman or Marshall. Oh, okay, so what I'm doing here is I'm making the trick more relatable. Rather than just having a pack of cards, I'm making it about something that the kids have an interest in. And notice I'm making it really interactive as well. I'm asking questions. And you want to ask questions an awful lot, but you want to make sure that they're closed questions and not open questions. If you walk out in front of a kid show audience and you go, well, you know, what are you having for dinner tonight? They're going to go, and that silence is going to kill that show dead. But if you make it an easy question for the kids to answer, like, if you like Batman, shout Batman. If you like magic, say me, whatever it may be, that's getting them really involved in the show, and it's making it really interactive through asking the right type of questions, right? So in this case, where we're making it interactive, we're asking the right type of questions, we're asking closed questions, but the other thing that we're doing is we're giving them a hook. We're not talking about playing cards, we're bringing playing cards into what they're interested in. So if you have a prop that kids might not necessarily be interested in, you have three options. The first option is relate the prop to something else. The second option is make it about something that they are interested in. So for example, it could be, right, okay, in this next trick, I'm going to teach you how to do a magic trick. Who here would like to learn how to do a magic trick? Okay, I'm going to teach you how to do a magic trick, and it's going to be the best trick ever. I'm going to teach you how to color in by magic. So boom, immediately that you've got their interest, because now you're talking about something that they are super interested in, super into. Or the other thing is use a prop that you know that they're going to be able to relate to, a prop that they're going to enjoy using or talking about or watching. So the reason the coloring book has become such a classic trick over the last 40, 50 years or whatever, is because kids love colouring in. Kids of all ages love colouring in. Ryland, he's 12 years old. He loves colouring in. And because kids love colouring in, you say, hey, who here likes colouring in? Well, I've got a colouring in book here. Who likes colouring in books? Immediately, you've grabbed their attention. There's that hook line there, right? So having the right type of hook line is really important. Now, before we move on to the third point, to illustrate this, I'm going to show you a video. And this is a video of me doing Stratosphere in a kids show. So it's me doing Stratosphere, and you can see at the beginning, I've got a tube with 3 balls. It's kind of a weird thing. So I relate it to driving. I asked the question, who here, put your hand in the air if you would like to learn how to drive when you're older? Who here would think that driving a car is the coolest thing you could learn to do? And that's my hook line that's going into the trick. So the hook line is going into the trick, right? Let's have a look at that. So we'll have a look at this video and then we'll move on to point number 3.
Now, who here likes cars? Who here, when they're older, would like to drive a car? Who here would like to drive? Who thinks that driving a car is one of the coolest things that they can do when they're older? Okay. Well, when you come to driving a car, you need to understand your traffic lights. Does anybody here know the colours on a traffic light? Okay, these are the colours. That colour is. That colour is. That colour is. And red means. Yellow means. And green means. Now, inside this tube, I have 3 balls. This one here is a red one. This one here is a yellow one. And this one here is a green one. I'm going to test you to see how good you are with your traffic light colours. Which colour out of these 3 should be at the bottom? Very good. The green one should be at the bottom. Then what should be above the green? Very good. And then what should be above the yellow? Exactly. It goes red, yellow, green. If you get red, yellow, and green, that means that you've done it correct. So you've got to get red, yellow, and the green's got to be at the bottom. Then the yellow. Hang on a minute. That's when. Sit back. Come sit back. Hang on a minute. Hang on. That's not. Let me just try that again. What colour's at the bottom? Then what colour? Then what colour? Okay, so it goes red, yellow, green. Is that right? Brilliant. Okay. So as long as you get red, yellow, and green, then you can. Ah! Hang on. I'm so confused. Let me try that one more time. Right. Look. Is that green? Yeah. Is that yellow? Yeah. Is that red? Yeah. Is the red on the top? Yeah. Exactly. Now, Okay. I've got an idea. The only way we're going to be able to fix this, I know, it's magic. can see. Right, okay. So the green goes there, is that right? The yellow goes there, is that right? We'll try and do some magic. We'll keep the green and the yellow there, and we'll try and make the red one disappear and appear there with the other two balls, but I'm not going to be able to do this unless you help me. Guys, will you help me? Okay, here's what we're going to do. We're going to use the same magic that we used before. When I say wiggle your fingers, wiggle your fingers. When I say wiggle your toes, wiggle your toes. When I say wiggle your ears, wiggle your ears. And when I say wiggle your nose, you get what's going to happen. You're going to wiggle your nose, okay? Right, here we go. Wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your ears. Wiggle your nose. Everybody shout, hocus pocus! And the red one has disappeared from here, and it is about... Start that again. Everybody, wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your ears. Wiggle your nose. Shout, hocus pocus! And the red one has disappeared from here and appeared. Oh, no. We're going to have to wiggle faster than anything we've wiggled before. Guys, wiggle your fingers. Wiggle your toes. Wiggle your ears. Wiggle your nose. Wiggle your hair. Wiggle your head. Wiggle your belly. Wiggle your chest. Wiggle your shoulders. Wiggle your elbows. Wiggle your knees. Wiggle your bum. Shout, hocus pocus! Louder! I can't look. You're going to tell me, did it disappear? It did! If that ball has jumped over here, inside this tube, that's the end of the show. And I want every single person here to give yourselves a big round of applause. I can't look. You're going to have to tell me, is the red ball in there? Give yourself a big round of applause.
Okay, so the third point that I've got for you today is the third point. Let me look at my notes. Yeah, is transitions. Now, what are transitions? Well, transitions are just as important as hook lines. And, you know, transitions are used on stage as well. Not necessarily used that much by close-up magicians, but some close-up magicians do. Close-up transitions are all about how you transition from one part of the show to the next part of the show. How are you going to go from here to here? How are you going to go from A to B? That is a really, really important thing to consider, because here's the thing: a lot of kids entertainers, they have what they have is on stage they have a case, and they'll literally just be taking stuff out of the case. For my first trick, I'm going to do this, put it away. For my next trick, I'm going to do this, put it away. For my next trick, I'm going to do this, put it away. For me, a show should be more theatrical. So you should think about how you're going to transition from one part of the show to the next, right? So you're going to open up with this trick. How are you going to go from this trick to the next trick? How are you going to go from the next trick to the next trick? How are you going to go from the next trick to the next trick? What is the link? What is the transition that's going to get you there? Now, it could be a line of dialogue. So you saw early on with the silver scepter, I transitioned into the pop-off wand simply by saying, look, this wand is terrible. I'm going to put it away. I've got another magic wand. That's never going to let me down. That's an example of a transition. You're transitioning from one element to the other element, right? Here's the thing. With my show, I never have a moment where I say, right, I'm going to do this trick. I'm going to do that trick, because I think about how to make it flow and how to transition from this point to this point to this point to this point to this point. And that's something that you really need to think through. How are you going to get from A to B? How are you going to get from B to C? How are you going to make it interesting for the audience all the way through? Because here's the thing, I don't want to have a moment in my show where I go, right, for my next trick, look at the silver scepter, for example. The hook line and the transition and how I get into it is, hey, I'd like to show you my brand new magic wand. Who here's got a brand new magic wand? Who here knows what colour a magic wand should be? Yeah, I bought a brand new magic wand yesterday from the magic wand shop. Would you like to see it? Well, that's not me standing in front of the audience saying, right, for my first trick, I'm going to do this. I could do that. I could say, right, I'm going to show you a trick with this. It's a green case. Inside the green case is a silver stick. I'm going to make that stick rise up in the air. It's going to be absolutely incredible. You guys are going to love it. Say the magic words, abracadabra, and the stick will rise in the air. That's fine and that's okay, but it's never going to get the reaction it gets by thinking about how to go from the beginning. In this case, I did a warm-up before I did the Silver Scepter. How do I transition from the warm-up into the Silver Scepter? What does that process look like? So yeah, that's transitions. It's again something that, well, honestly, close-up magicians and stage magicians should think about this, but a lot of them don't. A lot of them won't think about how to go from the invisible deck to the coin trick, or from the coin trick to the rope trick. It's not something that people consider, but it is a really important thing to consider. Right, so that's point number 3. Let's go on to point number 4. Okay, so the 4th thing that you need to consider if you're going to transition into kid shows is having a warm-up. Now, close-up magicians tend not to have a warm-up. Instead, when you're a close-up magician, you go up to a group of people and you go, hey, my name's Craig, I'm the magician, you want to see a trick? There's not really a warm-up there, you go straight into it. Now, you do have a warm-up with stage magicians, but not so much close-up magicians, right? Warm-ups are so vitally important when you perform for kids. And the reason is really simple, right? There's 3 types of kids in the audience. The first type of kids are super excited, super high energy, they're bouncing off the walls. The second type of kids are super shy, they'll cry if you look at them the wrong way. And the third group of kids are kind of just in between, right? And it's very difficult to control all of those elements. And when I first started doing kid shows, I really struggled with audience management. And the reason I did is because I couldn't figure out how to control the kids. And it was when I started doing a warm-up, because I used to go straight into my first trick. And it was when I started doing a warm-up that I kind of began to realize how to actually control children, right? Because what a good warm-up will do at the beginning of a show is it will take the super excited kids and it will calm them down. It will take the super shy kids and it will bring them out their shell. And it will do all of this while setting the groundwork and the expectations as to what you want them to do throughout the course of the show. So I'm going to show you an example of a warm-up. I'm going to be show you an example of me doing a warm-up here. And then I'll talk you through exactly what I'm doing.
Now, I only do magic for good audiences. Are you guys a good audience? Are you sure? Are you sure that you're sure? Okay, you sound good, but I'm going to test you. There's 3 things you've got to be able to do if you're a good audience. And the first thing that good audiences can do really well, they can clap their hands really loud. So I'm going to count to 3, and I want to see how loud you can clap your hands. So first of all, throw your hands out like this. Now when you do that, don't bonk the person next to you in the face. That'd be a little bit silly. Get ready. On the count of 3, clap your hands together as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3. Now that's not bad. There is a test. Put your hands in the air. If you clapped really loud, what colour should your hands be? Red. And I don't see any red hands. That means you didn't clap loud enough. Look, I'll put your hands down. I'll show you how loud to clap. And you can all try and clap as loud as me. Now, I'm going to warm up first of all. This is me warming up. Hang on a minute. Thought I heard someone laughing at me then. Hang on, I'm just going to warm up. Here we go. It's not funny. Stop laughing. Here we go. Here we go. I'm almost warm. Here we go. Right, I'm warm. Here we go. I'm warm. I'm warm. Oh! Right, here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Like that. So here we go. Put your hands out. Get ready. 1, 2, 3. Clap! Put your hands up. Let's have a look. Put your hands up. Red, 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 green, red, green, red. You need picking your bogies. No, you haven't really. Right, that's really good. Now the next thing you're going to be able to do, you've got to be able to laugh. But you've got to be able to laugh so loud that your head falls off and rolls along the floor. So I'm going to count to 3. I want to see how loud you can laugh. Get ready. 1, 2, 3. Whoa. Are you guys laughing at me? thing, you need to be able to cheer. But you've got to be able to cheer so loud that the roof falls in and lands on my head. So I'm going to count to 3, and I want to see how loud you can cheer. Let me show you how loud you're going to cheer. You're going to cheer like this. Yeah! Like that. So on the count of 3, let's see how loud you can cheer. 1, 2, 3! That's very good. I was watching very carefully. I was watching very closely, and I'm pretty sure that the girls were louder than the boys. Girls, were you louder than the boys? Boys, were you louder than the girls? Now, I need to know. What we'll do, I'll get the girls to cheer as loud as they can. Then I'll get the boys to cheer as loud as they can. We'll see who's loudest, and then we'll start the show. So first of all, the girls, not the boys, just the girls. Not the boys, just boys. If you cheer right now, it means you're a girl. Okay, so just the girls. All the girls. Girls on 3, as loud as you can. 1, 2, 3! That was awesome stuff. Boys, you're going to have to work really hard. On the count of 3, boys. 1, 2, 3! That was really loud, but what was your name again? Tyler. Did anyone see Tyler? Tyler was so loud I thought his head was going to go flying off his shot. In case you missed it, quick impression of Tyler. Amazing. Give me 5, Tyler. Let's see if we can all be as loud as Tyler. What we want to do, if there's anybody left over in the theme park, we want to get them to hear it. So everybody, the moms, dads, grands, aunties, uncles, neighbours, sisters, friends, family, boys and girls, we're in Drayton Manor. We're having fun. Make some noise! Amazing. Now, one last question. Is there anybody here who wants to come up and help me do the magic tricks? If you do, put your hand in the air. Right, this is important, so listen carefully. Put your hands down. I'm going to tell you who I'm going to pick. I'm going to pick the people that stay sitting on their bottoms facing the front. I will be watching. If at any point people turn around or walk off or stand up, I'm not going to pick you. Who thinks they can stay sat down facing the front? You're going to be really noisy unless I do this. If I do this, it means I want to tell you something and I want you guys to hear what I'm trying to say. So who thinks they can stay sat down? They can be really noisy and they can be really quiet when I do that. Put your hand in the air. Let's have a practice. When I do this, really noisy. When I do this, really quiet. We'll see how fast you can be quiet. Here we go. Really noisy! It's going to be a bit faster. Let's try again. Very good. Now, if you do that, and you stay sat down, there's a good chance I'll pick you. So let me see. We've got the magic tricks. We've got the audience. Are you guys ready for the magic show?
Okay, so that was a warm-up. Now notice, what I do is I walk out on stage and the first thing I do is introduce myself to the audience. Hey, my name's Craig, I'm a magician, I do magic. Okay, and it's really important that you have that tone of voice. Tone of voice is so important with a kids entertainer. You've only got one chance to make a first impression. Those kids are judging as to whether this is going to be any good. So you want to come out really high energy, come out really confident, come out like you're the greatest magician of all time, and really grab their attention right from the very first second. And like I said before, you want to make it interactive. So after you've introduced yourself, you say, hey, well, the first thing I do actually is I ask a question. That's a great way to make it interactive. So I go, hey, who here likes magic? Now, don't be afraid to repeat yourself when you're doing a show. Kids, sometimes, especially at the beginning of a show, they won't be as noisy as you want them to be. Don't be afraid to ask the question again. Kids are super proud of being noisy. And a lot of the time, they're told not to be noisy. You know, when they go home, they're told to be quiet by their parents. When they're out shopping, they get told to be quiet by their parents. When they're at school, they get told to be quiet at school. When they're around their friend's house, their parents, friends, dads, moms tell them to be quiet. So when you give them, when they realize that you've given them permission basically to be noisy, they will absolutely rise to the occasion. Now, so I ask a question, hey, who here likes magic? I can't hear you, let's be a little bit louder. Who likes magic? You're using this moment to get the super shy kids out their shell, right? And then I like to say, hey, I'm here to do a magic show, but I only do magic for good audiences. Are you guys a good audience? Notice how many questions I'm asking. I'm constantly asking questions to the audience. It's a great way to make it really, really interactive. So are you a good audience? Well, I'm going to test you. And if you pass the test, we're going to see how good of an audience you are. So everybody, first of all, I want to see how loud you can clap your hands. Everybody on the count of 3, clap your hands together as loud as you can. Boom, fantastic. Let's have a look at your hands. Oh, they're bright red. That's wonderful. That's amazing. But, you know, they could be redder. So let's do it again. You know, here's the thing. One of the things that people make a mistake with when they first do kids' entertainment is they blaze through material. So they'll take 10 tricks and they'll do it in half an hour. My kids show is 5 tricks. That's it. And it lasts 45 minutes. 5 tricks, 45 minutes. And the reason is there's so much bits of business. I spend ages on one particular thing. For me, it's more about entertainment than it is about magic. Yeah, the show's going to be magical. They're going to see some magical moments. And the magic is strong, but it's more about the entertainment side of things. I want it to be really, really entertaining, right? So because of that, I like to spend a while talking to the kids and chatting to them and make it as interactive as possible. You will find that people will blaze through material when they first start, and something that a good warm-up should take 5 or 6 minutes, and you know, they'll do a warm-up in 2 minutes, or they'll do a warm-up in 1 minute, or they won't do a warm-up. I've seen people do 15 tricks in one show, and realistically, you want to try and connect with those kids and bring them into the performance as much as possible, right? So that's a really important thing. So in this case, it's like, hey, clap your hands, that's amazing. You really build it up. I could just say, clap your hands, great, let's move on to the next thing. But it's clap your hands, let's have a look. Oh, you can be louder than that, let's try again, clap your hands. Then the next one's cheering, and you notice I get everyone to cheer, and I say, well, you know, I don't know who's loudest, the boys versus the girls. Now, this video was shot a few years ago. These days I don't do boys versus girls because that's frowned on a bit. I tend to do this side of the room and that side of the room. But either way, you want to do something to get everybody. You're bringing the shy kids out their shell at this point, and you're letting them know it's okay to make noise. So yeah, everybody, this side was louder. Let's do a competition. First of all, this side, now this side, now everybody all together. Oh, that's amazing. You guys are fantastic. Boom. Now the final moment is, and the final thing is, I want you to. Now this is really important actually. So up until this point, with the clapping and the cheering, you've been focusing on the shy kids. Now you bring it around to the other kids that are super excited, and I bring it down and I say, hey, okay, who would like to come up and help me? Put your hand in the air if you would. Now there's 2 reasons I asked that question, and the first reason is I really want them to understand that if they are good, they get to come up and help me. And there's 2 ways to control an audience, the carrot and the stick. I never use a stick, I always use a carrot. So I'm going to say to them, hey, if you want to help, if you want to come up and help, you've got to be staying sat down. You've got to do this, you've got to do that. So the first reason I say who wants to come up and help me is I want them to understand what they need to do to come up and help me. But the second reason is when I ask that question, some kids won't put their hand up. That's fine. They don't want to help. Some kids will put their hand up normally. Some kids will put their hand up so high and fast, you're genuinely concerned their arms snapped out of their shoulders, right? They're the kids that you want to watch for. And the reason is, look, I'm not going to say there's no such thing as naughty kids, because there is. There are lots of elves. There are such things as naughty kids. However, a lot of the time, the kids that we consider naughty are just wanting to be the center of attention. And if you let them be the center of attention, they will be your biggest ally or your best friend, right? So in this situation here, you say, right, okay, so who wants to come up and help me? I watch for the kids that put their hands up really high, really hard, really fast. They're the kids I want to watch for. They want to be the center of attention, and they're the people that could considerably be naughty if I don't give them that. So now, throughout the show, I can give them the attention that they wanted. It doesn't necessarily mean having to come up to the front. It could be that I say, right, okay, who here has a magic word? And they'll put their hand up. Yeah, what magic word do you know? Abracadabra. That is the best magic word I've ever seen. What's your name? John. John, that is amazing. Everyone give a big round of applause to John. Well done, John. That's amazing. Well done, mate. So it's stuff like this, bringing the kids into it, making them feel like they're part of the show, right? Very, very important. So I ask who wants to come up and help me. And then I say, right, okay, if you want to come up and help, you've got to stay sat down. You've got to be facing the front. because that allows me to reiterate that later on. Most importantly, when I do this, you've got to be really noisy. When I do this, you've got to be really quiet. I want to see how fast you can be quiet. Now, the reason I do that is because I do want them to be used to this gesture. That's important. But the other reason is, this is even more important. When you go and do a kid's party and you're booked to do a magic show at a kid's party, the biggest stressed out person there is going to be the client. They're worried about their kids. They're worried about everything. They're worried about, is the entertainer going to show up? Is the entertainer going to be any good? Are the kids going to turn up? Are they going to enjoy the food? Are they going to enjoy the party? What million things. So I need to establish credibility right at the beginning of my show. And the way to establish credibility is by saying, right, okay, everybody do this. I want to be really noisy. When I do this, be really quiet. So when I do this and this, you can see the parents at the back of the room. They're like, because they just can't believe that I've silenced a room full of kids just by doing that. Now, that's because of the scenario I've engineered at this point. I couldn't do that normally. I couldn't walk into my living room and walk up to Ryan and Thea and do this. They'd laugh at me. But in this situation, at this time, it works, right? So having that woman, and then I bring the energy back up and finish it by, are you ready for the magic show? And we're into the first trick. So that warm-up is vitally important. If there was one thing that I said you'd have to master in order to be a kids entertainer, it's the warm-up. Right, we've got one final point. Let's do it. Okay, so the final point is the quality of the magic that you're performing. Here's the thing, a lot of kids entertainers, and there's nothing wrong with this, but a lot of kids entertainers, they will do very, very basic, very, very simple tricks. And that's fine, that works for them. My attitude has always been, I've always wanted to do magic in my show that fools the adults at the same time as fooling the kids. Because it's the adults that are deciding who to book, not the kids. Yes, if the kids have watched a magic show and they love it, they're going to rave about that to their parents, and that's going to help. But the parents are booking the show at the end of the day. And if I can do something where the parents are enjoying it just as much as the adults, I think that's really important. And I've lost count of the amount of kids shows that I've done where I've had people come up to me and gone, oh my gosh, you're amazing. I really want to book you. I want to book you. I want to book you. Look, I don't do as many kids shows as I used to, but my company does a fair few, one or two. And I was doing a couple of kids shows over Christmas. One of my entertainers was ill, so I went out and I covered a couple of shows. And there were a couple of Breakfast with Santa events where it was like a 45-minute magic show to kids, and the adults were around the outside watching. And so I went and did these shows, and I had so many parents come up to me afterwards and were like, oh my God, do you do adult parties? Because she's so good. Oh my God, I want to book you for my kids' party. And I really believe it's because a lot of the routines that I do are tricks that you wouldn't necessarily consider to be done at a kid's party. I do cups and balls. I do linking rings. I do destination box an awful lot of time. There's a lot of tricks that I do, but even if I'm not doing a trick that you would consider to be a cabaret trick, or I'm still presenting it in a way that makes it really interactive. And although I'm silly, I'm not clown silly. I'm not ridiculously silly. I'm not banging myself in the face. I'm not doing that sort of thing. And here's the thing, a lot of people don't do kid shows because they think they need to change their character. They don't really need to change their character. My performance when I do a kid show is the same as my performance when I do a stage show, just dialed down a little bit and with less swearing, right? That's the only difference. And I throw in a lot more look, no, see. And I'll give you an example. So I'm going to show you a performance of me doing 20th Century Silks here. 20th Century Silks is something I've done in my stage show for years. You're going to see me here doing it in a kid's show. I'm dressed as a pirate. That's because I'm doing this at Alton Towers and everything's pirate themed. But I want you to watch this 20th Century Silks performance. Now, I've made it so that it's appealing to the kids. I've put a lot of look, no, see in there. I've put a lot of comedy in there that the kids will get into. But it's also a very strong kit trick that the adults will love. I do 20th Century Silks in my stage act, and I love 20th Century Silks. It works really well for any age range. But notice when I show that the silk has vanished, listen to the audience, the ooh, that's a room full of adults and kids just reacting to that moment. Those are the moments that I look for when I'm doing a show. I don't just want to perform for the kids. I want to make it an inclusive show that will involve everybody. I want the adults to enjoy it just as much as the kids will. I want it to be so that the adults have come to the party and they're planning on sitting at the back of the room and just chatting, but they eventually end up coming forward and watching the show because it's so good. So let's have a look at that performance.
Say me! Okay, I can show you my favourite trick. It uses 3 hankies. Guys, in a big loud voice, what colour is this one? Yeah! Put that one there. In an even louder voice, and I mean a ridiculously loud voice, what colour is this one? And in the loudest voice you can manage, which colour is this one? Right, here's the idea. Who here has seen a film called Charlie and the Chocolate Factory? When I sailed the 7 seas, that was the only film we could get on the TV, so I've seen it a million times. Now, who remembers the bit in the film where Charlie has a massive chocolate bar? And he takes the chocolate bar, he puts it into the machine, they press a button, it disappears in a million pieces, it flies through the air in 1,000 pieces, and it appears inside the TV, and Charlie reaches and takes it out. Who remembers that? Put your hand in the air if you do. I'm going to do a similar sort of thing. Other than I haven't got a TV, so I'm going to use these hankies. And also, I'm going to tie them together. And as well as the TV that I haven't got, I also haven't got a chocolate bar. I had a chocolate bar earlier on, and I lost it. It disappeared completely. No, it's not. It just vanished. It's magic. Okay, I ate it. So instead, I'm going to use the yellow hanky. Now, I've tied the 2 purple hankies together. I'm going to shove them down my top. And then what's going to happen is I'm going to make the yellow hanky disappear. This is going to be the chocolate bar. It's going to disappear. My hand's going to be the TV. Oh, it's going to fall. It's going to disappear, and it's going to travel in a million pieces, and it's going to appear tied in between these 2 purple hankies for the big finish. Would that be a good trick? Yeah! I need you to help me. Will you help me? Yeah! Step 1, you've got to put the yellow hanky into the hand until you cannot see it. It is really important that you cannot see that hanky. Now, once you can't see the hanky, no, you can't see it, so I put it in my... Oh, sorry, it's come out the other side. Sorry, there you go. So I put it in my hand so you can't see it. Now, once you can't... Sorry, I'm going to put it in the hand so you can't see it. There you go. I put it in my hand so you can't see it. There you go. Sorry, I'm just joking. You put it in your hand so you can't see it. Now, once you can't see it, you can make it... Sorry, put it in my hand so you can't see it. So there we go. Right, you can't see it now. Can you see it? Good, can't see it. Right, now what's going to happen, now you can't see that hanky, is I'm going to make it disappear right in front of your eyes on the count of 3. There you go. On the count of 3, you're going to shout out, look at that, but the hanky is going to vanish. It's going to become invisible, it's going to fly through the air, and it's going to land here tied in between the 2 purple hankies. So I'm going to put it into my hand, and all you guys have to do, I'm going to count to 3, you're going to shout out, look at that. Are you ready? Yeah! I said, are you ready? On the count of 3, you're going to shout out, now it's going to become invisible. 1, 2, 3! And now if I reach in my hand, you can see it is now completely invisible, and you cannot see it, which is really important, because you can't... No, you can't see that. Are you telling me you can see this hanky? Oh, no, you can't. Right, here we go. I'm going to put it all the way into my hand. Now I'm going to count to 3. I'm going to hold my hand out like this. You guys are all going to shout, abracadabra. Can you shout really loud for me? 1, 2, 3. Louder! Let me show you. It's now invisible. Thank you. Thank you. No, it's not. Thank you. Thank you. Yay. No, it's not. Shut up. Yay. No, it's not. Shut up. Oh, you want me to open up my hand? You want me to open up my hand? Okay, there you go. Ta-da! Thank you. Thank you. This hand. Oh, sorry. You want me to open up this hand? There you go. Oh, you should have said this hand. I'm sorry. This hand. There you go. At the same time. Like that. It's travelling through the air, guys, and for the big finish, it's going to become
you go. There it is. 5 things that you need to consider if you are going to become a kids entertainer. I can't stress enough how awesome it is being a kids entertainer. I love performing for kids, and that's never going to change. I'm never going to stop doing kid shows. And for all of those magicians out there, and those close-up magicians and those stage magicians that look down on kids entertainers and act like kids entertainers are inferior to stage magicians or close-up magicians just because they can't do a double lift, I honestly believe that most kids entertainers, if they decided to, they could go into a close-up job and absolutely kill it easily. Whilst I don't think any close-up magician that's got no experience performing for kids could do what a kids entertainer does. They should be treated with more respect. And honestly, if you're a close-up magician or a stage magician and you're looking to improve as a performer and make more money, I would highly suggest being a kids entertainer. So there you go. That's all I'm going to say about that today. Let me know what you think in the comments down below. Do you do kid shows? Do you agree with what I've said? Do you disagree? Are you thinking of doing kid shows? Let me know down below. And also, don't forget, if you want to join the net tricks, please do so. There's lots of tricks on there that are designed specifically for kids entertainers, including my signature sponge ball routine. But anyway, I will see you again soon. I want to say thank you so much for watching. My name's Craig, and you can go onto the net tricks by going to thenettricks.com. Like I said, it's my online streaming platform for magicians, and you can access it immediately. But regardless of that, I'll see you again. My name's Craig from Magic TV.